Hey, it's Lebo again. Today we've got a 1991 Williams Hurricane. This is one 4,400, I think, that were made. And this was actually a really pretty good example of it. I've had it working on it for quite some time, way too long. This belongs to my cousin, and he's been extremely patient, and I am really looking forward to presenting this to him, and I hope that he enjoys it. This was his game number 2. You may have seen the other video on mousing around. That was his number 1. We've got this one to add to it. So I'm gonna take you through everything that we did to it, and hope you enjoy. So starting out in the back box, let's just go through everything that was done there. Of course, there was a keyless latch that was added. I think even the bracket that held it was not there either, so all that was rebuilt. And then, of course, we've got the LED treatment. The whole game got the LED treatment like it normally does. And of course, there's kind of a mixture of a few different colors. Mostly the natural cool white, and actually did frosted down at the bottom there, and a mixture of frosted and clear blue bulbs at the top. And again, just some spots that are something unique. Like here is a warm white. It just looked right behind certain colors. So anyways, let's go ahead and dig in a little deeper. Let's just take this, open this up, and look a little closer. There were a number of sockets that were, something wasn't quite right. There was something loose, so I had to press a wire back in just to get that to seat quite right. But for the most part, really not too bad. The actual power driver board, that was one that was a little unexpected. As solid as this game was playing, even when we first started on it, as I started to dig into it, I can tell there's been a little bit of work that was done on it before, and this board's maybe a little hard to work on. There's some things when you try to go solder it, you got to be real careful not to overheat some of the lands because it'll pull off the board. That's exactly what was happening. So I actually went to go put in new capacitors on this, and I started working on these first 2, and it looked like one of them had already been replaced at one point. I'm not really sure when, but I started to go take it off, and as I did, oh wow, the traces underneath were in pretty bad shape. I was able to get a new capacitor put back in and get the traces really repaired, but it was pretty delicate. A couple bridge rectifiers, I went ahead and took care of those just proactively, but really just kind of had to stop and just be careful with not upsetting the board really any more than it needed to. Of course, I'm about to overlook a major thing that was done. So we put in a color DMD, and the DMD that was in there before, it was starting to fail. It still works. It's not absolute junk, but we made the decision just go ahead and jump over to putting a nice color DMD. They look so good on so many games, especially this one. So that was done. There were a few connectors that were rebuilt. You know, the typical problem when you get a lot of the GI lights, the connectors they're drawing so much current, and there's a lot of heat, and it just gradually fries the plastic over time. And that's what had happened. So there's actually some of these connectors that are down here, and the reason they're positioned down here is because we also added the OPC LED boards as well as the OPC GI board. There's the GI board there, and over here is the LED board for these are the controlled lights. Is that one? What else do I want to point in here? Oh yeah, of course, I did take the battery pack that was on the board, relocated it just over to the side. I had considered putting in an NVRAM, but just kind of got a little nervous after dealing with some of the sensitivity on this board. I just wasn't in the mood to even try to upset that, so I didn't want to press my luck. But I did pull and put a relocated battery pack over to the side, so that takes away the issue of not having to worry about battery acid leaking if they get neglected for many years, and if it starts to leak, it's not going to get on the board. But that is mostly it here in the back. Of course, I guess at the top, we took that off, cleaned it up, and put new bulbs inside there. Again, it's LEDs everywhere. All right, so now let's go move down to the playfield. Okay, so the Playfield got the full treatment. Everything was torn down, all the parts were cleaned, all the plastic posts. We put new posts in, just it's a good idea. A lot of the posts that get cracked over time, took care of those. All of the rubber parts were replaced with the Titan silicone rubber, mostly kind of a combination between yellow and white colors. But that was all taken care of. Of course, again, I mentioned put LEDs everywhere, and that's kind of the fun part. You know, for the most part, use warm whites underneath, but when you get to certain colored inserts, it just always looks better if you can use like the green, the red, and the blue in particular. When an insert's already that color, if you use a bulb, like a clear lens bulb for that, it just looks fantastic to me. All of the clear ones are warm whites, the clear inserts, and the yellow inserts and the amber ones went with warm white on all of those. I did add a couple spotlights here just to light up this general region. So there's one here, I've got it tied in with that lamp, and then the same way over here. Of course, up here at the top part, those pop bumpers, this was one of the games, I think halfway through the generation, halfway through the production of this game, if I got the history correct, I think they cost reduced it some by not populating the pop bumpers with light sockets or bulbs or anything associated with that. And as a result, it was actually really dark. So I added those sockets back in and went with the Comet ring lights. I really like those. On certain games, it just looks right, and this is one of them. It throws a lot of light underneath too, so an area that was otherwise really dark, it's lit that up nice. And so speaking of lighting it up more, underneath the Ferris wheels here and the back side, this back corner, I've added in some more light strips. The whole back part of I guess the back of the cabinet, as it shines down on the back side of the playfield, there's a light strip that runs that whole section. A couple other places where I just added in an extra socket just to give it a little more light. Really, kind of the goal was to not really go over the top, but just make it look like how it, really in my opinion, how it should have looked right when it left the factory. You don't want to color bomb it. I think some of the other games I've gone maybe a little too much color on, but over time just kind of learned to find a comfort with how much color to add, and really let the warm or the cool white, depending on the game, let it kind of do its job of just lighten up the artwork. Yeah, I did add a light strip down here underneath to kind of help light up another dark area. But yeah, I was really pretty happy with it. Maybe about the only thing that I wish I could have done just a little differently is inside this juggler box. Although I have added in, LEDs, I did look to see about if I could put a light strip on the inside of it. And it's kind of a tough call. I was afraid that the ball was going to just interfere with it too much. And so I just chose not to. The result is that it might still be just a little dark, but really, it's not bad. Really pretty happy with it. I guess that's just about it here for the playfield. As for the cabinet, not too much to say. Of course, when you're redoing all the rubbers everywhere, you're going to want to redo the shooter tip, and so of course you're going to put in a new sleeve and a new barrel spring, and then the spring down inside, I replaced all that, so that this functions nice. The whole cabinet did need to just some touch-ups in a few spots, but mostly just need to be cleaned and wiped down. The rails, they were scrubbed, but didn't need to be replaced or anything. And actually, I already touched the back box, or talked about the back box, but there was a lot of this, this black paint through here was touched up just to hide some minor defects. But that's pretty much it. Let's play it.
Hurry, hurry, hurry. Get right this way.
All right, going for the hurricane shot there. Hit it again. Oh, into the Ferris wheel. So much better that you can see it now.
Take your best shot.
Uh-oh. Oh. See if we get the first ball locked. Forgot to mention earlier, these drop targets over here, they weren't dropping real well earlier. They needed a really good cleaning. Now they work great. Oh, get back there. Come on. Well, I guess we're just going to ride the Ferris wheel all day.
My grandma knows better than you.
Dunk that up. Oh, come on. Oh yeah, there was a missing part at the top of the
Got it on like a wet rag.
top of this ramp. So this is the Hurricane roller coaster, and right through here is, I think it's just the concrete.
Take your best shot.
So anyways, this plastic was completely missing. I think you can buy it, but I ended up just making my own just by looking at some pictures. And I think this is out of polycarbonate. I made a new piece, and without having that there, when you shoot the ball up here, it will want to go flying off this ramp and usually bounce somewhere where you don't want it. So, all right, let's continue. Oh, that was pretty bad. All right, ball three. Well, I guess I didn't get that lock earlier. That's not real yet. Yeah, I'm playing terrible.
Dunk the dummy.
Okay.
I could be sitting here all day.
All right, dummy. Need to dunk that dummy. Yeah, light's flickering a little bit on the dunk of the dummy.
My grandma throws better than you.
I'm gonna check that. So there's a lamp right underneath this. It should be kind of blinking right now. I'm gonna have to take a closer look at that.
What kind of throw is that?
See it flickering. Well, so much for that. Anyways, that's Hurricane. It's a fun game. Really pretty happy with how it turned out, and again, really looking forward to getting it to its home. Again, woo-hoo! Don't you love it when you win a free game when you're on free play? It's awesome. All right, thanks everybody.